Um, our first paper is titled Learning to Fix Knowledge, Collaboration, and Mobile Phone Repair in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. I am Mohammad Rashidujjaman Rifat from Bangladesh. Here I will present our ethnographic findings on repair communities in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The title of our paper is Learning to Fix Knowledge, Collaboration, and Mobile Phone Repair in Dhaka, Bangladesh. This paper stands on our 3 months long ethnographic study in Dhaka, Bangladesh among the repair communities. In this paper, I co-authored with Syed Ishtiaque Ahmed, who is the PhD candidate in the Department of Information Science in Cornell University, and with Dr. Stephen J. Jackson, who is the Associate Professor of the same department. And I am Mohammad Rashidujjaman Rifat. I have completed my graduation from Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, and now I'm working with Design Technology Lab, New York University, Abu Dhabi. So here's the key contributions of our ethnographic findings. It will present the repair as an important yet often ignored issue in the ICTD research. We'll show the repair ecology in Dhaka, Bangladesh. We'll present the types of learning associated with the repair process, and we'll also present some implications for the ICTD researcher around repairing. Here's a short outline of our presentations. Firstly, I'll discuss shortly about the literatures and some recent works on repair maintenance. Then I'll describe our methods and field works, which will contain the 3 biographies on the repair communities. The biographies will help us to discern the bigger scenario of the repair communities in Dhaka. Then I'll connect our findings with the types of knowledges which flows among the repair communities and how it is helping to shape the collaboration and local culture of our repairing practice. And lastly, we'll discuss how the repair and maintenance is related to the ICTD research, and why there should be some broader discussion of repair and maintenance in the ICTD domain. So first, I'd like to draw our attention to the world that is continuously emphasizing designing, sidelining the issue of repair and maintenance. Let's look at some classic works around the repair and maintenance and around learning. First, Lucy Sussman criticized the planning, cognitivist planning view on human-machine interactions. She worked with Xerox, where she worked with some sophisticated photocopier machines, which were supposed to give some interactive instruction to the users, and she showed how the machines failed to give interactive instruction to the user in some critical situations, and how those machines were performed poorly in some unexpected situations, and which demand the involvement of some human. Julian Orr extended Sussman's works on repair community in Xerox, and she summarized his finding on talking about machines. He showed that how oral conversation of among the repair communities and the informal communication within them helps to learning things and to collaborate within themselves. There are also some recent works on the repair, maintenance, and breakdown, which try to show the effects of learning, collaborations, and maintenance in repair practices. Some recent approaches and background try to explore its connection with the different issues. I'll talk about some of this now. In an earlier work, Dr. Rosner worked on material qualities of restoration of broken devices. She discussed two main themes around the repairing practices, which is materiality for authenticity and designing for longevity, and she aimed at the sensitizing the ACA design. In a different work, Dr. Steve Jackson and Dr. Leo Kang present the problematic around the repair and show the responsibility of human-object relation. Well, now studying the repair practices in Uganda, Namibia, and Bangladesh, researcher discusses the pattern of maintenance and repair around ICTD settings, arguing for a broader discussion and deeper understanding around repair maintenance practice, which is currently under studied in ICTD community. They discussed how local repair practice are being formed from the global collaborations and knowledges. Discussing about the recent works and literatures around repairing, we'll turn our attention now with some, the different types of learning practices which are being practiced in repair communities and how they are learning things and they are collaborating other to teach the skills and techniques around repairing. First, we'll talk about the work of tacit knowledge, which was coined by Polanyi in his classic book, the tacit dimension. In his book, he showed the example of riding a bicycle. It associates with some physical explanation, how to pedal, how gravity is, affecting your cycling, and all those scientific explanation which helps to learn riding a bicycle. Apart from that physical explanation, there's a hard to describe things. When you ride a bicycle, you have a mindset to buy it, and there are some things we can't describe physically, but it's still helping to riding the bicycle and how you maintain your balance, which also goes to the example of when you learn swimming or when you hit something with a hammer. So he told that we can know more than we can tell. So that's the main theme on the tacit knowledges, that beyond the physical explanation of something, there are some more things you cannot explain physically. Then Richard Sennett talked about the craftsmanship, how craftsmanship are helping to learn things, and how practicing things and the repeated collaboration with others are helping to learn things around the repair communities. The another types of knowledge we'll talk about that it is situated social knowledge. If you're learning something in living in society, you have to collaborate with others, you have to talk to others, you have to negotiate it with others, with so many things. So with all these learnings should come handy to cope up with the society, how you are learning things, how you are disseminating your knowledge to the community. So it was described in the work of Leib and Wenger in their book, and it was based on their ethnographic work in Bhai and Gola Taylor's apprenticeship in Libreria. So after the literature review, we'll turn our attention to our methods, which we followed to complete our ethnographic works. In the first phase, we interviewed 58 repairers and customers and other stakeholders and repairing communities in Dhaka. In the second phase, we formally interviewed some repairers in 10 major fields. We built long-term relationships with them. We passed some time sitting beside them and observed things, that how things are getting done, how they're collaborating with others, how they're negotiating things with the people, and how they're fixing the prices for repairing a particular devices or programs. Yep. In the third phase, we conducted 63 interviews of the repair communities, and to also passed 1 month in participatory works. We worked with them. We learned things that how this particular task is getting done. Like there are some term like soldering or jumpering that is used in the repair communities as a local term, and we learn to do those things. So this is the repair ecology in Dhaka, Bangladesh. In the upper left corner, there's a kind of repairer who are doing repairing for their livelihood. They come in repairing practices, just for, they don't any job in Bangladesh, so they enter into the repairing. They may come in the repairing practices from the childhood, and eventually they learn things working with other senior repairers or in a training institute. There's a senior repairer community you can see in the lower left corner. They're trained in abroad, or they're trained in some formal institutions, and they learn how to repair things, and they also teach the livelihood repairers, and also they're connected to the other communities, which is called Bhangaris. Various types of e-waste are produced during repairing, and that goes to the Bhangari communities. The Bhangari community collect the e-waste, and there's a myth that they sell those e-waste to the Chinese market, where those, the e-waste are being recycled. And also, there are some parts which come from Chinese wholesale market, the spare parts, which is needed for repairing things and, for repair practices. So there's the 4 repair sites we conducted our ethnographic study. There are the different types. First, the Gulistan underground market is the dedicated repairing site. There was only some repairing shops and some spare part shops. And there's also another repairing shop in Mr. Akmal's shop. There's also a training institution around it. There are some market where there are some floors where repairing are getting done along with some mobile shops, and the 4th type is the Bhangari shop where there are some traders, so buy and sell recyclables. So those are the people we conducted we worked on the biographies of those types of people. First, Mr. Akbar, who completed his graduation from Bangladesh university. Then he went abroad for joining a telecommunication training, and then came back to Bangladesh and started his own repair business, like repairing things and also training other people's how to learn repair. The second man was Rupam. He was another type of repairer. He came in repairing during his childhood. There are some familial crises, and that's why he entered into the repair market. He learned things working with other repairers, and then started his own business. The third type of repair ecology is Jahangir, who was a worked collecting recyclable and selling to the traders. Those people who collect recyclables going from shop to shop, collect recyclables and sell to the traders. So what are the findings from our repairing? It's, we can see that how they enter into the repairing market, how they learn things, what are the prospects of employment around the repairing practices, what are the practical challenges around repairing, and how they collaborate to contribute to learn things or around the repairing practices. So the types of knowledge on the repairing, the first step is explicit knowledge. The repairer see internet or go through some books or some physical materials to see how diagrams are connected, how getting things done, which part is called what, the ICs or some motherboards or caching. They learn those things by seeing those images in the internet or some books. In the second type of knowledge associated with repair communities is that tacit knowledge. The repairer they become repairer by apprenticeship or working under some senior repairers, and they learn how to do things by doing that by themselves. So you can see in the images that there's a, he is repairing an IC, and there are some balls around there, and he need to be very careful to replace a ball around an IC. So for these particular types of works, he needs some kind of experience which he performed previously, and which needs some experience to perform correctly. This is very sophisticated and nuanced works, and for those types of works, he needs some tacit knowledges, and they learn those things by apprenticeship or doing the same things again and again. And the third type of knowledge associated with the repair communities is social knowledges. When a repairer is negotiating with some customers, he needs to be very careful that, when he's fixing the price, he needs to be careful so that the same customer come again to his home. He needs to be very careful with the data associated with the mobiles or laptops, whatever he bring to repair, so that he don't close his belief that the repairer have accessed my private data, and all those things around repairing, which needs to be the confident to the customers. So for staying, can I take 3 more minutes? Okay, thank you. So what are the contributions of our papers, and what are the implications for the ICTD community we're doing around these works? Firstly, we found some problems around the repair communities. We saw that how challenging the work is to be done in some repairing site. Some sites are very hot and not well ventilated. Shops are very heavy, and people with low sight cannot perform those sophisticated application of repairing some ICs or some other things. And also there's associated some social recognition. In Bangladesh, the repairers are not well recognized by the society, that they're not honored by the people to stay in the job. So some repairer reported us that I'm going to leave my job because there's not much money here, and people are not recognizing me as a good job. So in the repairing practices, we have seen that repairers are learning things from internet or from some books or from some manuals. But they reported us that the manuals or the content in the website are not well designed to easily understand for themselves. They're not literate, and they just learn things by seeing some diagrams. But manuals and other contents in the website, there's a not well organized and not there's a not useful for them. They don't find this useful. So for the ICTD community, we can think about the design and the contents, content in the manual or the contents in the internet we put around the information or diagram about the devices. Another thing is that some repairers, yes, we can discuss in our discussing sessions. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so leave that slide up and people can absorb the contents. We have about 5 minutes for questions, so.
Okay, I can't hear from here. Can I go down there?
Yeah, come on down.
Thank you.
Hello, Anno Barashorji, University of South Florida. It seems like you spend a lot of time working on this research project. Yeah. I'm wondering, what was the objective of the project?
Sorry?
What was the research objective?
Well, the basic research objective of our project was exploring the types of learning associated with the repair communities. We have shown the 3 types of the learning processes: the tacit learning, the explicit learning, and the social learning. How to cope up with the customers or other repair communities, how to collaborate with other repairers, and also in the with the customers. And the third findings or contribution of our works is to providing some implications for designing manuals and other contents in the internet, so that that can be useful for the repairer communities. They are illiterate and they can't read. So manuals and other things which provide informations around a device, a mobile phone or a laptop, that should be diagramized or something like that that will be convenient for the repairer.
Following up on that, I mean, we all know that there is explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge from Polyani's work. And what you seem to describe, social knowledge, seems very similar to tacit knowledge about how to deal with customers and so forth. So I'm kind of a little confused about the value of the work. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have seen the research by Stephen Barley at Stanford University. He looked at a variety of different groups of technicians and how they do their job and what are the issues. Might be something that you might want to look at.
Okay, thank you. I'm noting it down, and I think I'll see it later. Thank you.
So we kind of briefly had this conversation yesterday, but I have an emotional connection to repairmen. When one fixed my power cord that a street puppy ate in the Dominican Republic, I thought my life was over. But beyond what the ICT4D community can do for these tradesmen, I'm curious what the Global North can sort of learn from that and bring to...
Well, are you asking how knowledge is passing from the global...
No, instead of what we can do to improve or facilitate or kind of further intervene in supporting it, how can we learn from this practice to bring that culture of repair to the global north? Any ideas on that?
To the local practice, to the global knowledges?
Yeah, this local practice to bringing it to, like in the United States, there's not a very strong culture of repair or practice of repair.
Can we learn in this country? Can we learn? Not in the U.S. and Europe and in many northern countries. Can we learn something from these repairmen?
I missed a part in my presentations. I didn't get time, so I think I can discuss it now. We were curious about the term, post-colonial computing, how global intrusion is coming into the local practices. And we have seen that some repairers went abroad to learn things. They are trained there. They learn things, how to repair devices. They came back to the country and they disseminate their knowledge and the local repair communities. But to cope up that knowledge which is learned from the global community in the local context, the repairer, improvise those works in local context. So we can see some localized version of some global knowledges and how those knowledges and practices are sustaining around the communities. And on the other side, how global knowledge is passing to local knowledge is passing to the global era. So there are some design implications that we have to design the manuals and contents in the website carefully so that the illiterate communities or those communities who don't understand the manuals and instructions in the content, the ICTD community can take lessons that we need to keep our mind that when we are designing some manuals, we should put something there. It might be the diagram of other things which might be useful for understanding for those communities in developing countries.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move on to the next paper.